perfectly fine. She's at a heel and laying down. I'm okay with that. I'm great with that. So we'll do pivoting. Pivoting is basically, there's two different ways to do it. I don't use the book one, or having them stand their front feet on something and having their back paws move more. If you want them to make it look very, very professional, like a show dog or an agility dog, something like that, then you would use the book, where you just have them place their hands, you stand in front of them and see if they move at all with you. You treat them for that, and then you'll start using your left side to kind of direct them which way you want to go, and they should be moving their back legs to pivot their front legs. And that's a good way to start with pivoting if you're wanting it to look very, very professional and very, very nice. And then you would use that to the side. You want to make a command word, so move or pivot, whatever you want that to be. I don't use that technique because I don't want her, I don't care that it's completely show-like. I actually prefer her to pivot her back legs a little bit more. Especially with her back legs are very oddly shaped right now because of her puppy phase. All right, come on, Masking. Come on. So I'll show you how she pivots. Turn. That's how she does it from the inside. She'll do it from the outside too. I'll show you that in a second. Again, this is one of these things where I would start with an inside circle. That's a lot easier to learn. Use your leg to bump her into the place you need her. So I'll show you that one more time. Come here. Come here, Masking, pivot. Turn. Good girl, come on. If she kind of backed off there, that's fine. Just encourage them to keep going. Good girl. Just use your leg to move them into place if they start trying to cut you off during that pivot. On the outside leg, you don't want to start that until they really understand that. You can use a command at first to tell them turn, like I do with her. So I'll show you the outside. So lure them, keep them nice and close, pivot. Good girl. So that's what you want to do. Keep them nice and close to your leg with the treat, and then turn. So that's what you want to do for the outside leg, and really make sure they're right there by your side to so that they really understand what you're asking of them. All right, so we also had questions about body awareness. For that, you can use the technique. I'm not going to do this on her because this kind of freaks her out right now, so I don't want to stress her out, especially outside where there's already bugs stressing her out and they're eating us alive. So you would have your dog sit in front of you or stand, whichever's more comfortable for the dog, and ask them to back up. And you want them to back up as straight as possible. If they don't at first, that's fine. Not every dog's just gonna back straight up for you. Labs are usually okay with it because they're just like whatever. Goldens are the same way, but not every dog's gonna be okay with that. So you would step into them, ask them to back up, and then once they do, you treat it. Eventually you'd start working on getting it as straight as possible, and you want them to be able to do it standing ultimately, but if you have to start with sitting, that's fine. To get it to straighten out, you can put yourself between two straight objects and ask them to back up. That way if they bump into anything, they'll know that they bumped into it, and it'll kind of push themselves back in place instead of you having to leg all the time. You can, if they're having body awareness issues here, to your sides, legs. You guys know me, legs. That's what I use all the time to get my dogs in place. So just bump, or if you have them on the right, bump, whatever. Get them back in their own place. Hind end movement, you really want them, honestly just teach pivot. If you're teaching pivoting, hind end movement is going to improve greatly with that, because it's really going to get them to pick up their legs in the back. But I would teach them the more professional way, which I mentioned at first. I would not teach them the way that I usually teach my dogs. That way it'll get their hind ends to move more and get them more aware of where their hind ends are. So I would use an object, stand their front feet on that, ask them to move. If they move around with you while you have the treat in your hand, treat that. Make sure they're keeping their front legs on there. If the dog was right here, you would ask them to move, treat, and then you can make a command for that to start out with. Over, turn, whatever you want it to be. That's a good way to get hind end movement going, is pivoting with the more professional way that typically show dogs or running dogs and things like that would use. I don't use that on my dogs because I don't really care much for it. I don't care that her pivot is completely perfect. I just care that she's moving with me. And quite frankly, if you're wanting your dog to move backwards with you at any point, I don't train my dogs to do that. I've trained other people's dogs to do that. I don't train mine to do that. I would prefer them to turn around as my service dogs and watch my back. instead of being forward and backing up with me and possibly both of us getting hurt. So that's what I would do. Body awareness, all about just making sure that the dog understands this is your space and making sure that the dog will move fluidly with you. When you want him to go backwards, you want him to be as straight as possible. If you want him to go sideways, as straight as possible. You know, just using your legs and your body to claim your own space from the dog. Hind end movement, again, teach pivot, and hopefully that'll improve. If not, you can let me know.
Hey guys, it's me editing this. So originally the outro is the outro in the part 1. The reason I had to do a part 2 is because it wouldn't let me upload it because it was too long with both of them, so I ended up just cutting them into 2 videos. So basically, if these techniques don't work for you, let me know in the comments. As usual, I will reply back. If you don't feel comfortable talking with me about it and you would prefer to go to someone else, that's okay. I won't take it personally. I promise. It happens all the time. Some techniques don't work for every single dog. Every single dog is different. I'm okay with that. I understand that. I hope this wasn't too confusing for you because it kind of started just like out of the blue, but basically why is because it was supposed to be one long video, not 2 separate smaller videos, but you get what you get. Hope all of this was helpful for you guys. Don't mind my stuttering, and the cameraman is my brother. He has autism and he has ADHD, so you can tell a lot by like how much he talks, and he likes to zoom in because he can't sit still. So I hope this was okay for you guys. Hopefully the next one won't be such a mess.